name is Roberta Walton Johnson, and I'm a candidate for Orange County Clerk of Court.
For those who are meeting you for the first time, please introduce yourself. Tell us about your background, your career in public service, and what inspired you to run for Orange County Clerk of Courts.
Absolutely. So just a little bit about me. I've actually resided here in Central Florida for about 25, 26 years now. I relocated here from the Panhandle, where I'm originally from, to attend Florida A&M College of Law. I was a member of the inaugural class starting in 2002, and I graduated in 2005, and that's when my legal career took off. I started my legal career at Community Legal Services of Mid-Florida, where I represented underprivileged people who could not otherwise afford an attorney. And then from there, I shifted over to Orange County government, where I served the people of Orange County Board of County Commissioners, District 6, for 8 years. Did a very, very small stint in private practice. And then for more than a decade now, I've been serving at the Orange County Clerk's office. I have a long tenure of public service, a long history of public service, particularly to the residents here of Orange County.
Many voters aren't familiar with the responsibilities of Clerk of Courts. Can you explain what the office does and why it plays such an important role in daily lives of Orange County residents?
Absolutely. The clerk's office, and you're absolutely correct, a lot of people don't recognize what the actual role is for the clerk of court, but the clerk's office is one of the 5 constitutional offices established by the Florida Constitution. And for the clerk side, the rationale is we are the keeper of the record, the keeper of the court's records. We work alongside our judicial stakeholders. We serve as the treasurer for the courts, so we collect all fees and all. We also manage the court registry. And in addition to that, we do marriage licenses, we do passports, we touch lives in terms of domestic violence, where we provide the service of being able to file for an injunction for protection against violence. We also have self-help services for those who are interested in representing themselves for matters like eviction or small claims. Certainly our larger areas in terms of civil and criminal. We work with other partners like attorneys and the state attorney for the Ninth Judicial Circuit and the public defender for the Ninth Judicial Circuit. In addition to that, quite frankly, the clerk's office really is the gateway, essentially, to the court system. You have to come through the clerk's office in order to access the courts. So that's pretty important for the residents. It's pretty important for anybody in need of the services, in need of our services. And I always say, you really don't appreciate the clerk of court until you have to.
You've served in several leadership roles with the clerk's office, including as general counsel. How has that experience prepared you to leave the office on day one?
So I tell you, what's unique about my journey and my trajectory that I don't believe any other elected clerk has ever had is that I actually started as in operations in leadership. So I had an opportunity. Operations really is the bulk of the clerk's office. You're talking the criminal division, the probate division, the records division. It's all of the divisions that really make up the clerk of court. And I started in division leadership at that level more than a decade ago, before I was actually promoted to become the general counsel and also in charge of all legislative affairs on behalf of the Orange County Clerk's Office. And so it's given me hands-on experience to, I work with policy of how we've gotten to certain points in terms of where we are today with the clerk's office. So that journey traveled, I've experienced it. In terms of training, right now I serve as a regional trainer for the Florida Court Clerks and Comptrollers Association's Best Practice Committee. So all the best practices adopted by the clerk's office statewide, I've actually gone from office to office to do hands-on training about what our best practices are, how they align with recent court rules or recent legislation passed for the clerk's office. And the other side of that, which I think is extremely important, is our budget. Yes, we are a constitutional officer, but we are not funded like any other constitutional office in the state. We are really self-funded in essence, and we're funded by fines and fees. And so when you think of that perspective and my hands-on experience, day one, that makes it seamless for me to be able to just walk right in, pick up, and keep growing on behalf of the residents.
One of your campaign priorities is improving access to justice. What specific initiatives would you implement to make court services more accessible and easier to navigate for residents, especially those representing themselves?
Absolutely. That's extremely important because you heard where I started my legal career. Community Legal Services of Mid-Florida. Trying to help people who could not otherwise afford an attorney. Actually, that's also how I started my career with the Orange County Clerk of Courts. I was actually recruited to come to the office to kickstart and to build the initiative that our now clerk, Tiffany Moore Russell, started. It was one of her campaign initiatives, and so I was tapped on the shoulder to come and lead that initiative. So the self-help center that we have now, which is renowned, it is, when we initially started back in 2015, there was no other self-help center like the one that we put together, a self-standing self-help center for people to actually come to the courthouse, to walk in, to have deputy clerks also there to assist them with answering questions, and to also build a partnership with our local bar association to ensure that we also had low bono. And when I say low bono, I'm saying $1 a minute to sit down with a licensed attorney to get guidance about how to move forward on your own behalf. So that exists today, and that is an initiative that I led, that I started. I was the very first manager of that initiative. I won't say I started it because, of course, the sitting clerk started it, but I was the inaugural manager to take that program and grow it. What I plan to do is expound on that, to enhance our forms library, to make sure that we have more educational clinics that connect people to the clerk's office. That's my goal. Let's connect the community to the clerk's office so they really understand the resources for them to be able to take advantage. Usually when you meet the clerk's office, it's when you're in crisis. We want to remove that element that when the crisis comes, you know exactly what to do, you know exactly where to go.
Technology continues to transform government services. What upgrades or innovations would you provide to improve customer service while ensuring court records remain secure?
You're absolutely correct. I do remember a time, yes, I'm that old, where when I was a customer of the clerk's office as a practitioner, we had files, paper files. That's gone. All court records are now electronic records. And so what do you face when everything is electronic? Cybersecurity. So to make sure that we strengthen our cybersecurity unit at the clerk's office, while also looking at what AI brings to the table and how we might be able to take advantage of it at the clerk's office. Because again, one of our one of our issues, right along with most government agencies, is keeping people, right? Because of, people want to make more money. We're in the middle of an affordability crisis. And so being able to retain good talent, but to also make sure that we can capitalize on some of the new technologies that are there. One thing that I would like to do is I would like to kickstart an electronic notification program for people. I feel like that's that is the number one trigger to send people into I forgot, right? I forgot my hearing, I forgot certain things. How do we help people? We strengthen them so that they can help themselves. And that's my goal, and I plan to utilize technology to further that.
The clerk's office is responsible for maintaining millions of court records and safeguarding public funds. How would you ensure transparency, accountability, and public trust while protecting sensitive information?
So you're absolutely correct. That's our job, quite frankly. The first thing I said when I explained the clerk of court is we're in charge of protecting the record. And that means all court records, all public records that we are in possession of. Right now, as the general counsel, that is one of my roles, and one of my responsibilities is I'm in charge of all public records requests. So because of that, I make sure that I have a team of trained individuals, right? Our leadership is trained to make sure that we are aligned with what court rule says, with what legislation say. I do a training every new class of new employees that we invite to the clerk's office right now. And that training is all about the Florida Sunshine Law, right? Chapter 119 and public records requests. But not only is it about the Florida Sunshine Law, it's also about Rule 2.420 of the Florida Rules of General Practice and Judicial Administration. Why? Because the clerk's office is not only a public entity, a public agency of the state of Florida and Orange County, but we're also a member of the judicial branch of government. And so we have to really know when does Rule 2.420 kick in and when does Chapter 119 of the Florida statutes kick in. And so that, again, you have to rely on your experience, and you have to make sure that that is coming down from on high in terms of the leadership down to the people who need that information.
Throughout your career, you've worked in legal aid, court administration, and public service. How have those experiences shaped your leadership, philosophy, and approach to serving Orange County residents?
I like to tell people all the time, I'm customer centric, right? People matter. And the services that we provide at the Orange County Clerk of Court, they are centered around people. People who are happy because they just got their marriage license or they just applied for their passport. Sometimes they're happy about getting a divorce too, right? People who are happy that they are adopting, right? But then we also have people who are in crisis, right? And they have to file a probate because they lost a loved one. They're going through the criminal justice system. They're being sued. And so from my perspective and the fact that I've served people from all walks of life, from legal services to the board of Orange County Commission, right? I think humility in the way I serve and in the way I view leadership is, in my opinion, my greatest attribute. I have had a very broad scope, a huge brush to be able to help people from all realms. But in my opinion, I feel I have a public servant heart, and while there are many opportunities that I could have pursued, I've remained in public service for that reason.
Community outreach is another focus of your campaign. How would you increase public awareness of the many services offered by the clerk's office, such as marriage licenses, passports, self-help resources, and court assistance.
So I talked a little bit about the fact that I do want to expand self-help services. I think they're important, and I think as to provide that kind of education, right? That's another term, right? Education to the community about the services that really are theirs is very, very important. So I want to have quarterly legal clinics, and I want to do that through a partnership with other organizations throughout the community. I want to continue to do sealing and expungement clinics. I want to continue to do probate, wills, and estates clinics. And then incorporate my son has autism. I want to incorporate clinics about becoming a guardian advocate for your child if you have a child who is special needs, right? Or who has a special need. And so I think all of those things are important. I want to do incorporate services surrounding eviction, right? And how do we keep people housed, right? Because eviction is the opposite of that, right? People are unhoused when they are facing those types of crises. And so I have a list of initiatives that I plan to kickstart over the course of my first year. And then another list that I am asking and I'm saying I want a team to help me over the course of the next 3 years thereafter in serving. But I recognize that it does take partnership. It does take a community and a village to pull these things off, and I'm willing, and I am certainly up for the job.
Orange County continues to grow rapidly. What challenges do you anticipate the clerk's office will face over the next 4 years, and how would you prepare the office to meet those demands?
That's a very good question, and I'm going to tell you, just because of my experience at the clerk's office, especially legislatively, funding is today and will remain an issue for us. Our funding model, we could be here all day long, if I sat here and explained it to you, but it is a different funding model. And unlike most CPAs would not be able to just walk in on day one and understand how the clerk's funding model is put together. From how we fund jury services, because the clerk's office is also in charge of jury, versus how we utilize dollars that come in from marriage license and passport is very different than how we accept filing fees. So pursuant to Chapter 28 of the Florida statute, everything that we do is ministerial. And when I say ministerial, I mean it's aligned in some rule, some statute, some court order. And so the challenges that we're facing right now is the fact that leadership continues to shift, right? And every cycle, we have to explain our funding model, why we're funded this way, and the fact that we need additional funding. We need to be able to keep more of the funds that we raise here in Orange County, for the people, the residents of Orange County to benefit from those funds. And so I feel like that is going to continue to be our biggest challenge. As I stated before, I remember the funding challenges when I worked at Legal Services. I was a part of the budget process when I worked at Orange County on behalf of my district. And so I am very clued in when it comes to the fiscal part of it, and certainly sitting at the table today on behalf of the Orange County Clerk's Office. And so as we continue to grow, that is what we're going to have to wrap our hands around.
And finally, what distinctions you from the other candidates in this race, and why should Orange County voters trust you to serve as their next clerk of court?
Well, I thank you for that question. First and foremost, what distinguishes me is my experience. I know that there are other candidates in this race that are touting experience, and I won't debate that. They have experience in their own respective areas. But there is only one candidate on this ballot that has any court operations or clerk administrative experience, and that's me. There's only one candidate that you will see on your ballot on August 18th that is a licensed practitioner. And while many people didn't even realize that you did not necessarily have to be a lawyer in order to be the clerk of court, but just because it's not required doesn't mean it probably shouldn't be. You are literally governing the gateway of the court system. You need to be able to relate and understand when you are in that area and you're advocating on behalf of the residents of Orange County and the employees who are employed at the clerk's office. And so that alone distinguishes me. I am the only person with any experience to start day one in this area. I applaud my opponents that share the ballot space with me. They have experience in certain areas, but not this one. And to supplement that, trusted leaders also agree with me. I have been endorsed by the sitting Orange County Clerk of Court. I have been endorsed by the public defender for the 9th Judicial Circuit. I have been endorsed by the state attorney for the 9th Judicial Circuit. All who agree, including the property appraiser, all agree that there is no other individual more qualified to start day one as the next Orange County Clerk of Court. Seamless leadership, in my opinion, is very important. And when you look at the trajectory of our county and the fact that we are preparing to elect 7 of the 9 seats on our Board of County Commissioners, we are preparing to elect a new state cabinet. We are preparing in 2027 and 28 to elect a new mayor for the city of Orange County, the city of Orlando, which is Orange County's county seat. Change is among us, and I'm asking for us to not do this to the gateway of our court system. Make that seamless so people feel comfortable that we have strong leadership in this area, and guess what? Our gateway is safe.
Thank you so much on behalf of Cal Village, and have a good rest of your day.
Well, I appreciate you. I ask for your viewers, if you are interested in learning more about Roberta Walton Johnson, please visit voteroberta.com. That is my website. You can engage with my campaign. You can request a yard sign. You can ask to volunteer, and you can donate. In addition to learning more about me, I am going to be on the ballot August 18th. This is a partisan race, which means that the primary for this particular race, Democrats will make the decision. There is a Democratic primary right now, and so I am asking for all Orange County Democrats that are registered to vote here in Orange County to please support Roberta Walton Johnson to be